Hi, everyone. Welcome to, I should have done the countdown. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you might be. I am so excited that I am doing a pop-up on Coffees with Denise, or Coffee with Denise. There's no S there, right? On this Friday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, which is Houston, Texas. I want to thank everyone for being out there. I love that we can all come together at in one place at one time, regardless of where we are in the world. So I want to welcome everyone to this Friday morning coffee with Denise. I normally have amazing guests on here, and the purpose is really to share as much as we can about those that are just doing amazing things in the world and making sure that everyone has an opportunity to get to know them. However, today I am doing a solo event because I've done a poor job as I've come back. Everyone knows I was off for a majority of July, not really off as in I didn't work, but not really on social media as I had focus with my kids and my family. So I am here as a solo, and I am here for two reasons today. One is because on Fridays, my friend and neighbor, Jim, tends to turn me on in the office. So I have no idea whether he planned on doing that or not, but I wanted to make sure I was here for at least him. He can always have a good laugh, make fun of me probably, but he usually turns it up really loud in the office. And I'm not actually recording this, unfortunately. I also, as you can see, didn't change my branding completely. So I'm a little bit of a mess. I have a shirt on that is not a really nice shirt. But it is Friday and we're allowed to do that, right? That's the human part, right? And for all of you that may or may not know, Coffee with Denise is really, again, a reminder, an opportunity for us to come together and have great conversation with amazing humans that are within my community and my network so that we can all get to know one another a bit more. But today, not only did I want to come on for Jim, but the second reason was I wanted to really talk about how, my platform has been aligning a sales, AI, and humanity. And each of those content pillars because I bring them together, has a different show associated with them. Today, however, I want to go back to how do we actually integrate the human aspect within the sales process? How do we retain our humanity when we are being bombarded with all of these automated and AI solutions, right? And I don't know why I felt so prompted to have this conversation, except that I feel like every other DM that I'm writing, and mind you, I'm sure like many of us, I get a million DMs. Okay, well, maybe not a million, but a lot. And they all tend to be, or majority of them is, it's immediately not even a here's how I want to get to know you, or here's what I've learned about you, except maybe that I'm a coach, but it is immediately they go into pitching. That is not human, right? Human is fostering this connection with people, and a connection can never occur when you try to pitch them in the very first DM that you send them. And by the way, in order to actually get someone to pay attention, you have to make it more about them and less about you. So I've been talking about, I have two video series that I think are super important, and I'll try to make sure that I tag them in the comments below, which means I have to do a little bit of work to bring them together. But one is my warm DM series, which really coaches others, gives them tips and practical ways that they can actually engage in warm DMs versus these cold DMs. The other is the more recent one, which will continue for the course of at least another week, maybe even more, has been about how do we establish value, right? When it is no longer, sales is no longer about know, like, and trust. It's know, like, and trust with credibility. Credibility used to be established by coming to your buyers with the intent of educating them, right? Because they were so busy prior to this digital age. They were so busy going from meeting to meeting, like physical location meeting to meeting, that they just really didn't have an opportunity to understand the solutions that were out there that could potentially solve their problem, what some of the industry trends were, et cetera, right? And it was our job as salespeople to educate them. They don't need or want that anymore. First off, no one likes to be educated anyway. I mean, who does, right? But the second is that they just have had more time. They sure they have a lot of meetings that they're going to, but they're doing them sitting in front of their laptop. And so they have more time now to actually educate themselves. Credibility now has to be established by the value that we bring. Now, value has always been important, but it's more so important than ever before, because that is how we establish credibility with our buyers. I've got a video series where I've talked about, we talked about from the business case to negotiation, and now we're back at the beginning, and we've been talking about how do we establish value even before our very first discovery meeting. That is really what is going to foster this human connection, is how we add value, and we're making it about them and less about us. So how do we do that effectively? So first off, when you start to engage with someone, you never want to talk about all that you can do. No one wants to hear that. What you want to do is recognize some of the things that you've noticed that they're doing, that you've seen them. Maybe it's through a post that you've read. Maybe it's an article that you found about them. Maybe it's not even about them. Maybe it's about the company. Nonetheless, whatever it is, you want them to know that you have done a tremendous amount of research, and tremendous could be 2 minutes and it could be 30 minutes. It doesn't really matter, but that you've done enough that you can come to them with conversation centered around them and not about you. Because people want to know that you've taken the time to get to know them before. That is what's going to differentiate you from every other salesperson out there. And in fact, it has nothing even just to do with sales, or it's not even just about sales. It's in any relationship that you have now these days. We have an opportunity like we've never had before to network with so many people, because we can now do it digitally right here in front of our laptop. We never even have to leave. Because of that, it's no longer, people can network if they want to, but they don't want to do that anymore. They actually want substance. They want relationships that matter, that have depth, or what I would say intimacy. And no, not intimacy in the romantic way, but in a way that makes them feel heard and seen. And, someone who, in a relationship where there's vulnerability, and those take different layers, right? It doesn't happen immediately. You have to start establishing that, so it gets down to a point where we fostered this intimacy that allows for this vulnerability. And when you can do that, particularly in sales, you can create and build this amazing partnership. So I kind of been a little bit all over the place, mostly because I feel like it's a little bit of a rant, because I have been inundated with a million DMs, and I've been working really hard. My goal as here on LinkedIn, as a sales coach in general, and even on any speaking platform that I have, is really to align sales, AI, and humanity together. And I feel like we're leveraging so many AI technologies and automation solutions that we continue to lose this human aspect of not just sales, but in general with any relationship and any conversation we have. So, practical tips. It's important for me to make sure that I don't just sit here on my queen chair in my office and just talk about how I feel. It's about taking practical tips. So how do we continue to inject the human aspect within the sales process? How do we retain the humanity that we can differentiate from machines and AI and robots and all those other noisy, chaotic things out there that could interfere? And that is simply by this. Start focusing on making it all about your buyer and prospect and less about you. When you spend more time focusing on them, you will start to build this credibility with them. And what you'll find is that they will start to open up, because ultimately, and I will tell you, if Jim's out there listening, this is one thing he's really good at. Well, he's good at probably a lot of things, although sometimes he's a pain in the butt, right? But he's really good at building relationships. And it's not just building a relationship hey, I mean, we can all do that really well, but he's established this credibility because when he builds relationships, he has conversations and shares what he understands about his prospective buyers and what he understands about the industry and the community. And then he slowly shares more about what he knows and the value that he can add to them. But in the beginning, he makes it all about them. That's what we need to do. So if you are challenged right now and you are struggling with engaging in a way that fosters this amazing conversation, I would take a step back and I would look at how you're engaging. And I would then spend a little bit of time. It doesn't take that much. Yes, if you want to be thorough. Yes, if that individual is interesting, maybe you spend 20, 30 minutes, but you can spend as little as 2 to 5 minutes on learning a little bit about that person you're fixing to engage with. And when you do that and you show up in a way that makes it all about them, you will see tremendous success. Your success rates will soar. And I'd love to have a conversation with you if you still, even after giving you this practical tip, go out, find their LinkedIn profile, learn a little bit about them, and use that to start to engage with them. Or look up their company profile, look up their website. If you still don't know how to do that effectively, send me a DM. Let's have a conversation. I will also try to put my video series around the warm DMs below. And you'll just have to, I haven't finished the value DMs. And so I have not actually tried to put them together in a form that will enable me to send that out to you. But I will pay attention. You can go back and look at my profile. I've got the videos already there. They've been over the course of last week and this week, and I will continue them next week. So I hope that today's session has been a little bit more or less about a rant and more about key takeaways, practical tips that you can use to make sure that you're injecting the human aspect in all that you do, but particularly in sales, because it is so very, very important in this day and age to differentiate ourselves from AI and the automation solutions out there. If Jim's out there listening, I hope you have an amazing Friday in the office with your team. So hello to all the team members who might be listening as well. For those of you that join me usually on Coffees with Denise, we have an amazing lineup coming up in the month of September. We have this month, I had my kickoff session, my kickoff episode, which was, we're going into the second season. And so I'm super excited. You can go back and look at some of my past episodes. As we talked about earlier, my platform and where I come from is aligning sales, AI, and humanity. On Tuesday mornings, it is all about sales at 9 a.m. Central on my Celevators Human AI Sales show. On Wednesdays, it's all about AI, CAF AI Chats. And I actually have a sponsor, which is Tech for Good, a newsletter generated by Corey Warfield. So I'm super excited to share more about that on my first episode for this season. And then on Fridays, Coffee with Denise. And I've got a couple of other lives around there, but I'm always generating content. I am always willing to help you figure out how you bring out the human connection within your relationships, especially in sales. I want to wish you guys a happy Friday. I thank you for anyone who might be out there for joining me this morning. I have my cup of coffee, by the way, so I'm hoping you have as well. If you're out there, be sure to let us know by either hashtag Team Live or Team Replay. And definitely let us know where you're located. Again, I'm here in Houston, Texas, wishing everyone an amazing rest of your day and a phenomenal weekend. See you back here next week on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, wherever you might be. And yeah, DM me if you have any questions. Thank you all. Wonderful day. Talk to you guys soon. And I'm going to end, but I'm going to try to do that by ending it with some music. But as you can see, I am struggling today. So here we go. I'm going to put on some music. One day I'm going to upload my. Hey, talk to you guys later.